spouse dies, insurance gives us 5 million. When your child up to a maximum of 4 dies, they give us 2.5 per child. On a premium of how much? 120. When your parents die, including parents-in-law, so we are speaking about 4 parents, not 2, they give us 2 million per parent. Imagine taking that headache away by simply contributing 120,000 per year. Some of us can go to a bar tonight, and 120 is not sufficient for one round, especially depending on which bar you go to. If you're in Mbale here, there are places where you'll go and the beer is 10K. And in another place, it's 3K. So you're not simply paying for beer, you are paying for the place where you are consuming that beer from. You are paying for the AC, you are paying for the workers. So when you organize yourself in groups, you can bring down the cost of medical care. If you go as a group, even your own cost to access medical care will significantly go down. So let's leverage these groups that we belong to. So beyond chatting and the fun, which is also extremely important, can we make these groups productive and get the cost of certain things lowered because of the power of the group? We also need to interrogate our lifestyles. Some of us live extremely expensive lifestyles that we cannot afford. And I keep saying that there's nothing wrong with living expensively, provided you've worked hard to afford that kind of life. But some people live expensive even on debt. So you borrow to finance an expensive lifestyle. You borrow to have an expensive car when you could be able to afford one that is not very what? Expensive. And you think people care what kind of car you drive. They don't care. I keep joking with my team that sits on the 13th floor. David is one of them. I've worked with him for more than 7 years in the same location. I don't know what car he drives. Because by the time he's entering the 13th floor of worker's house, he's walking. I don't know what car he drives. I don't even know where he parked. Some people even park 2 kilometers away from their office because there is no parking. And you think people care what car you drove. They don't. People have their problems. Sometimes you might even see me in jam and you lower your glass, I will still not see you. So don't bother. Do the things that you can afford. If you do things that you cannot afford, they'll have a negative impact on your old age because you are unable to put away some money for the future because you're competing to live a life that you cannot afford today. A good future in old age depends on the sacrifices that you make today. So you can sacrifice some money and plan for your old age. Do not take debt to finance a lifestyle that is not affordable for you. Accept. I also keep telling people that when we were all growing up, we had certain dreams. But sometimes the realities of life come in. We must also be bold enough to adjust our dreams. If I can no longer do that particular thing, I can move on to another thing that I can afford. So let's accept the realities that come with life. But maybe the last key point here, especially about costs. I gave an example of someone that has their money in NSSF. They want to take their child to a university in the UK, but they must come and claim money from NSSF in order to send the child to the UK. If you must come to NSSF to remove money that is meant for your old age in order to send your child to a university in the UK, it only means one thing. You cannot afford education for your child in the UK. Send them to a university in Uganda. They will still succeed. And there is no guarantee that because you sent them to the UK, they will be successful. So do not blow away your savings that are meant to cater for your old age because you are trying to make your children believe that everything is okay. Sometimes it's even good to create what we call artificial scarcity. Sometimes when I go with my kids in the supermarket, by nature they'll want everything. But it is okay to tell them that daddy does not have. It is okay. It's okay for them to know that there are times when you don't have. If my child wants a toy car that is costing 4 million, but I've not even paid their school fees. I need to be out of my senses to just pull out the 4 million. But what are you also teaching the child? So sometimes the kid will ask you for something that you can actually afford and tell them, you know what? You know your saving box at home? Any money that you receive, put in that box. Even me, I'll be putting some money for you there until when you can afford that item. And you're doing it not because you can't afford, but you're teaching your child certain financial tips. They will grow up knowing that you don't simply take something because you want it. You get something because you've worked hard towards getting it. Does this message speak to anyone here? Say amen. Okay. For some of us that are close to retirement, not even retirement alone, but I'm 44, next year I'm picking my 20% from NSSF, we need to be mindful of fraudsters. There are many on the market. And fraudsters are very smart. They know your age already. They know when you'll get your NSSF. The day you get it, they'll come to you and tell you about these deals in town. And tell you, if you place your 40 million with us, on a weekly basis, we shall give you 5 million back. And even your principal stays intact. And because you're excited about earning a lot of money, you hand over the 40 million. The day you hand over is the day you last see them. And your savings are completely gone. I remember a company called Capital Chicken. Some of you know it. We had some people that took their midterm. Some people even went to banks and borrowed and said, Capital Chicken, I'm putting 5 million. They are giving me 2 million every month. What return is that? And they said, so I can borrow at 20% in a bank. Put in Capital Chicken. Because I'm earning a higher return. People actually borrowed. Capital Chicken positioned itself as a company that helps you to deal with the dirt of rearing chicken. And for you don't have to deal with it. So they rear chicken, multiply it, sell eggs on your behalf. People put their money without seeing a single chicken. And like these schemes work, the people that put money first actually got some money. And you know how? Because they use your own money. So the money that you put actually in the first month, they'll give you the 2 million. Out of the 10 million that you put in. Second month, they may still give you another 2 what? Now you're excited, you're going to bring another 40. They will be gone. So if any scheme sounds to be too good to be true, most likely it is not true. Do not invest your hard-earned money in schemes that you've not done due diligence on. Seek professional advice whenever you want to invest your money. Undertake your own due diligence. If someone says that we're a pension scheme, go to the website of the regulator and search. If a scheme comes to Mbala and says we're a bank, go to the website of Bank of Uganda and check, is this a bank? If it's a company in the investment world, check the website of Capital Markets Authority and say, are they licensed? Do not simply give money to people that you don't understand. Because it is worse, especially when it is your last check. You've saved NSSF for the last 40 years. In one day, someone takes it away. You have absolutely nothing. And I keep joking that if that happens at 60, at 70, you are likely to join your creator much earlier. Because that pressure will kill you, right? Having money, by the way, makes you live longer. Did you know that? People that have money generally live longer. I was looking at data. Our neighbors in Rwanda have what their scheme that is like ours is a pension scheme. So they pay them monthly what? Pension. Now their actuaries advised them that, you know, on average by about 70 to 75, majority of your members will have died. And therefore, you no longer be paying pension. But because pension improves the quality of life, their members have refused to die. People are 85, people are 90. They have refused. And the scheme has a contractual agreement with them. You must continue paying. So there is sufficient evidence to prove that when you have money in old age, you are likely to live. And when you don't have money, all manner of sicknesses that you've never suffered will come, because poverty in its own is an illness. So let's plan better. I'm coming towards the end. If you're much older, one of the key things that you need to consider before you think of retiring, look at your debt portfolio. What kind of debt do you still have? It is extremely important to pay off your long-term debt early. You don't want to retire and you still have a significant amount of debt that you pay when you no longer have a steady monthly income. Of course, if you have a business that is making you good money, it is okay to have debt even in your old age. But if the only source was salary and the salary is no longer there, you might want to consider paying off your long-term debt early. Let me move much faster now. It is also possible that by the time you're retiring, you've not built a home. True or false? True. And it's not a crime that you didn't build a home. But it is a crime if you come to an SSF, take all your money and build a dream house. A 10-bedroom house with self-contained rooms, but all your children are gone. Who is going to sleep in those rooms? So be modest. Build something small that does not dig into your retirement savings. Okay? So do not splash your money on a dream house that you never built during your early years. Be modest, do something small, because what you need most in your old age is cash flow. It is not a big house. But many times these are errors that we make. This is, I think, my second last. It is also good to determine where you want to retire. This decision should be made early. You begin to plan for that place where you want to retire. My boss, Patrick, I've not yet figured out where he wants to retire. But every time he speaks too passionate about a village called Nyim Nyim. So I keep suspecting that perhaps he wants to retire in what? Nyim Nyim. The trends are changing. More often